Gaze deep into your eyes in a candlelit room. Your skin is like the dew on a rose on a misty Hamilton morning. And I'd love to hear your deepest desire. You fascinate me. What do you reckon?
That is not
Could
bad,
I be a
Brendan.
writer?
I actually, ladies, that wasn't bad, was it?
10 points.
10 points. We're saying 10 points.
10
I think
points.
that's
10 out of 10?
Is it?
No, out of 20.
Out of 20.
Yeah.
Well, look, millions of readers around the world, is that Barry White, adore romance fiction, but not all of them admit to it. Unlike our next guests who are openly passionate about reading and writing love stories, welcome to Gracie Stanners here on my right, Pat Snellgrove and Cassandra Gaisford from the Romance Writers of New Zealand Association. Well, it's the perfect time of the year, of course, to talk about romantic novels. Before we begin, everyone instantly thinks, we were talking before, of Fabio on the front of a Mills and Boon. Is that what we're talking about with the Romance Writers of New Zealand, or are there more than just one genre?
More than one genre. It's definitely more than one genre. There's all sorts. Like, for example, Pat writes romantic suspense, and I do the same. And Cassandra, what do you...
I'm into comedy, romantic comedy, something with a giggle and a twist. So.
But I think, though, it's fair to say, though, we were talking to Laura Croach earlier, who is a regular book reviewer we have, and she said literary romance tends to be unrequited or perhaps sad, sad endings. When you write your books, are you typically talking about happy endings?
Absolutely.
Yes, must.
Got to be a happy ending.
Is that right?
Got to be a happy ending.
Who are your readers?
Everybody.
Yes.
I mean, even men, and some of them will not admit it, but they are closet readers.
A lot of them actually write it.
Yes,
A lot of men write romance under women's names. So.
Isn't that interesting? Because we were just mentioning that, Pat, your book here, which I think we have a picture of called Sunrise Lady, you've actually got the nom de plume Anne Patrick, not your own name. Why do people change their name for their writing name?
Sometimes for privacy, like they want to keep their family private. In my case, it was sort of a combination of two things. My grandmother was very passionate about me doing things. Anne's my middle name, and my father was convinced I was going to be a boy before I was born, and so I was going to be Patrick. So I put the two names together, but by keeping my own name in future, if I want to change genres or anything like that, I can use that. So it's just an option, but not everybody does it.
It's very interesting. Now let's go back to Fabio, because I remember meeting Fabio. Because he came for a telethon, I think, about 20 years ago, which I remember meeting him. Does he still appear on all those Mills and Boon?
Not on all of them.
No.
He's probably a bit old now, isn't he?
Yeah,
he still looks fantastic, though.
He does, doesn't he?
The big rippling chest and, supposedly every woman's dream.
I believe he's actually got his own agency or something like that now, and he doesn't do as much. But
so he has other men who do the modelling on the covers.
Do the rippling.
So are romance novels always predictable, and does the woman always get her man?
I think probably she always gets her man. Not necessarily the man that the writer started off thinking that she was going to end up with.
Oh, okay.
So they come, sometimes you're writing and things change, and the characters end up by telling you that they actually didn't want that guy in the beginning, so you're just going to have to change your story, thanks very much.
That's right, and you get a different man.
And well, they grow and change, and usually the man's a bit prickly. It's not, not like you might see in real life where he's all warm and enthusiastic and then becomes a prat. Usually he starts off a little bit kind of with a few edgy bits, and then he becomes a nice, beautiful, romantic, loving, reliable man. So she gets a different man.
Why do you think it's so popular to read romance fiction? Because it's just a multi-billion-dollar industry, isn't it? Why is it so popular?
I put it down probably to a lot of it is escapism too. I mean, people want to read things about happy lives and such, like when their life perhaps isn't as happy as what it could be. Enjoyable. I mean, you can lose yourself in a book when you're anywhere, and that's what I think anyway.
Let's talk about what each of you does. Gracie, first of all, you actually write short romantic stories. Where could we read those?
I have only been published once in short romantic stories, and that was in Women's Day at the end of last year. I've got another one coming up on Women's Day sometime this year, which is rather nice. But I'm also working on my second novel, so a bit long. And I'd love to say I could tell you where you could read me, but I can't.
But but I mean, hopefully one of the publishers is watching today, and they might
Only from your mouth to God's
That's
ear.
right, I know how tough it is. And Cassandra, you've got a great story because you've just been in New York pitching your romantic comedy.
Yes, yeah, I did.
What happened there?
I decided, and half of it is just having the confidence to put your ideas out there. And I was going to New York, and as fate would have it, there was a conference at the same time. And I was incredibly nervous, but I thought, oh, I'll seize the day. And the night before, I just had a new idea, fabulous new idea that I thought would really work. And the woman that I pitched to is a really successful New York agent. She said, which one have you got the most passion for? Because I had a finished book and this new idea I dreamt up. And I said, this new idea. And she said, I love it, send it to me. So
You're kidding?
yes. I'm busy finishing it.
That is amazing. How did you get to see a New York literary agent? Because that must be
It's really hard because people say it's really hard, but I was really lucky because I know people love Kiwis, and they heard I was the Kiwi who'd come all the way across to New York, and they said, we've saved this appointment for you. Oh, there you are. And her agency is called Firebrand, which is so apt because, you know, it's all about passion. And yeah, I felt really chuffed. I was really nervous, but I had a pen name too, which is Molly Matthews. And she said, great name, love that name. So isn't that funny?
And has she made a commitment to publish it or just to consider it?
What happens in this world is really they ask for 3 chapters to see. They might like your idea, but you might not be able to write to save yourself. And because a lot of people think it's really easy to write, but it's actually really challenging, really hard to make your characters likeable and the story really good. So they like to get a taste of it. So I've sent that off, my 3 chapters off, and which is great because then now I'm busy finishing it.
And have you heard back?
I haven't heard back yet. Typically it takes about 2 to 3 months. So
but watch the space.
Yeah, I'm on her case. And someone else will publish it. If it's not her, it'll be someone else.
Good on you. Well, hopefully it'll be New York.
Yeah.
And Pat, let's finish with you. You have written this book, obviously. Is this your first book?
No, it's my 5th.
Fifth,
Well
so
done.
you're a very successful romance writer.
Well, I don't know about successful, but my first books were actually published as e-books, which are published, you buy them off the internet and you can get them on disc. This is with a different company and they put them out in trade paperback. It's still very small company in the States, but we are working towards sort of doing a little bit more publicity. And so, yeah, it was only out in November, so we're now sort of, you know, hoping that he'll do well.
Well, congratulations, and let's give it one last plug. Sunrise Lady by Anne Patrick. Thank you, all of you, for coming on the show. Enjoy Valentine's Day tomorrow, and everyone get out there and read some romance and escape. And if you'd like to know more about the Romance Writers of New Zealand Association, you may want to join. You can find their details on